welcome everyone to the race of Fuji Speedway in the Super Formula cars over 15 laps. A race I see very often being complained about for being too difficult, some people being unable to make many places on the race itself. So I thought I would make a small video just explaining what the process is and how you can go about doing this race with a stock tuned Super Formula GT car on the hard difficulty. Let me start by saying I've been playing Gran Turismo since Gran Turismo 2. I am running a Fanatec Podium DD1 with a PlayStation VR2 headset, and I am A+ rating and S on sport mode. So that being said, I thought I would just share a few tips and tricks on this race, and hopefully it helps you complete this race as well. As we come to the end of the first lap, you can see the goal of the first lap is just to gain as many places as possible. Being able to outbreak the AI at almost every heavy braking zone is very handy, and it's consistent through almost all the AI opponents in this race except for one or two towards the front of the pack, which we'll run into towards the end of the video. I'm coming down the main straight for the first time. You'll notice the AI have a lot more straight line power than us for some reason, even though we're in a stock tune, so I'm thinking they've obviously got custom tunes on their cars to be a little bit quicker on this race than we are, but that won't be a problem. As we come down into turn 1, this is my fastest lap of the race, by the way. They brake about 50 to 100 meters too early. I use my braking point, which I'll go through a bit later in the video, and as you can see, I've already dispatched them. You can see that rear view mirror on the left and right side I'm checking, and it's just a nice comfortable gap already, as I nearly make a small mistake in that little left hand here. You can go all out in this corner, in fact you definitely should. You want to drift a little bit wide at the apex. It's technically a double right-hander in my opinion, and you want to drift a little bit wide so you can tighten up as it goes to the second half of that corner. The corner we just went through at that hairpin left, as you can see I exit in about third gear. I find second gear is just a little bit too unstable, and it causes a lot of issues in spinning out if you're not running traction control, which I do not. As we come through this hairpin right, hairpin left section here, you can see I took a very aggressive line to the first part of it, so I could open up the second half and have a bit more of an open corner, as I got the inside here of P12. And often they'll brake a lot earlier, and except for this corner, they're a lot better than I am. I'm just not very good at these cars in that corner in general. But as you can see, because he went wide at a few corners before, I was able to dive up the inside and just take the position by force. As we come to the end of lap 2, which is, like I said, fastest lap of the race, I do a 1:23.6, which is another AI beat. So at this point I'm already aware that my pace is really good for this race, and it's going to be a good demonstration as I brake at my braking point. You may have seen where I braked there, but once again I easily dispatched P11 and now at P10 at the start of lap 3. Now that we fast forward on a fair bit, I'm coming up to my pit stop lap. Rain's coming in. I took a gamble just to put another set of softs, not thinking it was going to get fully wet. Turns out to be the right choice. As you can see, I've worked my way all the way up to P3 and I can see P2 and P1. But as you can see also my soft tyres are absolutely screwed on the outside tyres. So I send into the pits with some fresh softs on and make sure not to cross the solid white line there. If you cross it at any point, you're going to get a 1 second penalty. I think if you cross it, as long as you don't go all the way over, you're fine, I'm pretty sure. As we transition to get the pit stop, it's boring. At this point the weather's not fully come in yet and I'm 7/10 up on my personal best, but I lose about 2 seconds in this sector here. Come out at about P11, P12 after the pit stop. On the same lap I've already got up to P7, using the fresh tyres to catch up to all the hard runners. Now the cars up to second place, not including second place, they've all got hard tyres on. So the medium runners have to pit because they're not going to make it to the end. So knowing that and assuming that they were on mediums as well, I was able to comfortably know that if I got ahead of the car that was in P3 here, I was going to have an easy race win as a result. As we fast forward onto the second last lap, that was the last car on the hard tyres. He keeps his boot up the inside, which they like to do, putting me onto the poor traction zone. And he stays ahead of me a bit longer. At this point I'm not really messing around because I'm thinking I've got this in the bag easily, not realising the car that was P1 that pitted on the previous lap has already caught up to us behind on a fresh set of medium tyres. But once I realised that, probably at the end of turn 1 here, I make a very quick adjustment and just go all out as a result. Even with me switching on though, it's a bit of a difficult one. As you can see, I think it's Miyazano. He is right behind me, not giving up, driving faster than any of the AI have all race for some reason. It feels like it's the last 2 laps of a normal F1 race where the AI gets stupidly overpowered to try and maintain the position. But come through this sector here, I know my traction's good. My tyres have got a decent amount of life in because I chose to have better tyres at the end of the second stint rather than the first stint. For a situation like this, you'd rather have the better tyres at the end every time, just because the AI can somehow get stupidly fast due to the... I don't know if it's rubber banding, but as you can see, when I was catching them up rapidly in the first 8 laps, he's able to close that gap up instantly with a fresh set of mediums when I'm on softs. But we finished the race, we've come home in P1, we've won by less than a second. But this is after like 2 or 3 attempts of trying to do the race, after not having driven these super formula cars in nature. So it is very doable with the stock tune and stock settings. So I'm now going to transition over into the replay, and I'm going to go over what you need to look out for when it comes to putting a good lap in. As we transition over to the replay, I'll be putting little pauses in there just so I can communicate what I'm doing. So you go into turn 1, I pause here. At the start of the rumble strip on the left there, you want to slam your brakes on, brake in a straight line, and that is how you get a really good entry into turn 1. And you always, on the hairpin corners especially, you want to try and aim to exit in 3rd gear. 2nd gear is a really good chance of spinning out. And as we see here, I pause just by the 15 meter mark. You would just tap the brakes, go down 1 gear and throw it in, avoiding hitting the inside curve because you get a half-second penalty as a result. All out through the right-hander here, braking, slowing down, stay in 3rd gear for this one, or go to 2nd and shift up to 3rd. So you can have the traction when you exit the corner, using a bit of overtake to catch up to the cars. Early stage you want to use more overtake just so you can get ahead of these cars. So you can brake about a moment after the you go into the billboard. Like 1 Mississippi is what I kind of mentally do it. As you can see, these AI have brake, they're about 50 k's an hour slower than me already. I'm able to comfortably dive it up the inside. Now the AI always want to try and send it up the inside there, try and cover them off if you can. Out of that corner, drive in a straight line to avoid turning and spinning out in the process. That is the best way to get the power down and get the maximum speed in that short sector. As you turn and let the car drift out wide, the car always wants to understeer there. Once again, exit in 3rd gear, full power, and send up the inside down to 2nd here. For a moment, you should shift up to 3rd. I don't think I do here. I still short shift into 3rd as a result because I'm about to lose traction, and send it down. Still lap 1, using overtake. I want to clear these 2 cars quickly. And because I'm carrying a lot more speed into turn 1 this time, I'll need to brake a little bit just before the rumble strip begins. So I should probably give a good point of view here as we go for a double overtake into turn 1. So I brake here. As you can see, I'm already losing speed here. So just as I reach the rumble strip, brake. Down to 2nd or 1st gear, just depends how I'm going. If I go to 1st, short shift to 2nd, short shifted to 3rd. So I could have gone straight to 3rd, I went to 2nd and 3rd there. As long as the car's pointing in a straight line, you're not going to spin out, given that there's enough traction in the tyres and on the road, aka wet weather. Drift a bit wide coming through this right hand. You see I'm not tucked in, but then I tuck in there as it gets tighter. Slam on the brake, straight line down into 2nd gear for a moment, short shift into 3rd, and full power on the exit. Even under rotation, it is still able to keep all the traction there. Just got to make sure you can feel when it's starting to slip and lift off if the case needs. So as you can see, we're coming to the corner here, so the brake very late. As a result, the gap is now negative just about. Early apex turn in there, so I can open up this corner a bit better, which has brought me closer to Magnum. Mangaro. And as you can see, my weakness is this 3rd sector here, so I do struggle a bit. I believe I send up the inside, he opens up the inside for me. So I send it there, he turns into me a little bit. And as you can see, I short shift into 3rd again, but it would have been a lot better to be in the 3rd the whole time. As we stay in 3rd gear, come onto the back straight, sit in his draft. I probably wouldn't use overtake. Yeah, I stopped using it pretty soon. I probably just wanted to get the acceleration out of the car in the lower speed. If you're in their draft, don't use your overtake. Save it for when you really need it, because that was my fastest lap of the race and I barely used any overtake anyway. So you come down to turn 1, look at the bottom left, see the braking point, send it up the inside, easy overtake, and the AI just incompetent. Start at lap 3, once again P10, and it's just smooth sailing from here essentially if we just keep consistently pace. Brake 50 meter board, flick it in, probably turned it a bit too early there, which caused me to adjust my steering a bit. Drifting a bit wide out here, then tighten here. If you want to save your tyres a bit, you can lift off a bit and not put too much energy through them. Staying in 3rd gear, not full throttle as you can see, but once the car's straightened up into max power. Drumont, I don't need to worry about using overtake here either, because I know he's going to brake. As we can see, he's going to brake now, I'm going to brake after him, and I get a double overtake, which wasn't even my intention there. But as I mentioned, he locks up the inside for the next part of the corner, doesn't leave me much space, we make contact, but at the end of the day, I make my way through and secure P8. And like I said, after lap 7 here, I'm already in P3. As we transition a bit further forward, you can see my tyres are starting to go. Fast forward, wet weather's starting to come in, I'm giving it everything I've got. I came out in P12, already gone for double overtake for P7. It is a very aggressive strategy, this one. I say it's the most doable one just because of the fact you've got the best grip in the car, so it's the easiest to drive overall. The hard tyres might be the quicker way to go, but you need to be more consistent and not make mistakes to lose the grip on the tyres. This lap here, the rain starts to come in, so I'm actually about going to beat my lap time by about a second at the pace I was running for this lap when you get to the sector 2 split. But as we're going through the left-handers, going in third gear, I'm a little bit more cautious now. You can see the wet weather coming in, bottom left corner, you see the precipitation on the road. It's nearly up 1 bar, which it does take over 1 bar for a fair distance, where I end up being a second off my pace. Car medium tyres pitted on lap, whatever lap it was then. As we transition to the second last lap, Miyazano, who's the guy who threatens me at the end of the race, is coming out of the pits now, right behind me in P4. Then there's Gallo, I think it was, in P2. He's the race leader. I was comfortable knowing that Miyazano had pitted on lap 13. I knew I was 99% sure Sasaki was going to pit on the last lap here. So I just was taking my foot off the gas, unfortunately, and just taking my time with Gallo, not taking too much of a risk to get past him. As a result, it does allow Miyazano to catch up to me here, right behind me. So when we come to turn 1, he overtakes him, and then he's right up behind me for the final part of the race. But as you can see on the track map at the top right there, you can see he's on the pits, change of tyres, and now it is up to me to try and hold him. Behind me as we watch P2 and P3. That's P5 for some reason. As we go into turn 1, trying to break the toe a little bit, don't know why I was doing that. As we go into turn 1 for the final time, Miyazano on fresh racing mediums gets the position on Gallo. And as you can see, I just got to keep him behind me for the next lap. But look at that speed he carries. Like, it's just an absolutely insane pace. But that's how you do it. I hope you enjoy. If you need any questions, send me a message.